This is it.
Me trying to figure out where Phil lives compared to Disney.
I mean, I have 6 Flags here.
Alright, let's get it.
Alright.
Run it up.
Gotta turn the music down, but let's do this. Alright. What's up?
Good intro, good intro. First podcast.
I like it. It's solid. First one.
Alright, here we go. Here we go.
Away.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Cheap Drinks and Cheat Codes, the game where we talk about games, but not only games, we talk about anime and everything included. I'm here with Josh, Justin, Phil, and sometimes other people. What's up?
But not usually.
But not usually.
I'm good.
Not usually, but occasionally.
But sometimes.
Okay. Alright, well, let's go to the first bulletin. Might turn on your Windows updates. And or sticky.
Somebody hitting sticky tabs.
Yeah, somebody's on
sticky keys.
Somebody's on sticky keys.
So was I.
Alright, well, we're going off of Phil's notes this week.
Yeah.
So
I have the best notes.
you had, I mean, Josh put in
Does
his,
have the better
he put
notes.
in his notes as well, so
I edited things.
he did.
So we're gonna talk about that Atari Hotel,
Yeah,
which
Atari's
is quite poppin'.
Yeah, Atari.
This isn't the first time that they've gimmicked things like that. They basically only own the rights for the name, nothing else. Which I think is cool. But they, they're doing the same thing at Universal with Lego and everything like that. But
So is it?
I'm interested.
So is it a hotel / arcade? How does that work?
So they're gonna have like an arcade area and like I think games available in the rooms, but then they're also meant to be like esports event places as well.
Yeah, that's
So they
what
want
I
to
heard
hold
about
like
it.
esport events at these places. too.
Yeah, I'm certainly interested. I think it's strange from Atari, but they don't have much going on right now, so it makes sense.
Right. Well, the
Yeah, they
new
have
the
that
new one's
console.
coming out for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I heard they launched something for E3 this year. They're going to.
Yeah, E3. Nobody else is gonna be there, so
Right.
Atari.
They're
Yes,
like-
Atari's time to come back.
They were like,
Yes,
they were
it's
like, it was
sunshine.
weird. Tickets were $50. I'm not real sure why.
Like, no one's not at E3 anymore. Is wood grain. Let's bring it back. Let's bring back wood grain.
I'm into it. I like the theme hotels as long as they're not crazy expensive. But like, we're not gonna talk about Star Wars. Star Wars.
Disney.
Land.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney's forbidden.
Disney doubling their prices in just a season. Yeah. So they're opening them in what, spring 2020 in
That's
Phoenix,
the
Austin,
first one.
Chicago, Denver, Las Vegas, San Francisco, San Jose, and Seattle. Why does California get two?
Because California is
Pop.
huge.
California is big.
Yeah. So is Illinois. You know.
Yeah, but there's also none on the East Coast, which I'm surprised. I'm
There
surprised
actually
they didn't
was.
drop one.
It's the chain that's
Where?
doing it is only, I think, on
On the
Oh,
West
they're
Coast.
only a
yeah.
West
it's
Coast
a
organization?
specific chain. Yeah, because I thought that was strange as well that there was no New York.
I wonder what hotel chain it is. Interesting. Because there's pretty much, like, I could imagine, like, it'd have to be a super small company if it's not everywhere. Like, you can pretty much drive across country and stay at the exact same hotel.
Well, I mean, the one in spring of this year is going to be the first one, and then it's planned to open another one. So,
Right.
I mean, it could all go bust.
No,
And that
they're
one
building
could
them
have-
all at the same time. This is just like an RTS. They went around the map,
Have
they
you
dropped
seen
them, and they're currently being developed.
A picture of this hotel yet?
Yeah, there's a picture on the website. If you just
There's a
Google
picture?
Atari,
Yeah. It looks like a giant Atari console.
It is.
It's the symbol of Atari. It's
that's-
massive.
I
they're
can drop
going
a link.
off the whole Stark building
You hear me,
from
bro?
Avengers.
But they announced the deal with the GSD group, whoever they might be.
GSD Group.
You can see it in the link description below. But that does look really nice if that's the case. I can't find the exact. Yeah,
Oh yeah, they
the GSD
literally
logo.
have just the giant logo on it. Oh, that's kind of dope.
Yeah, it's cool.
I just feel like Japan's been doing this for a really long time, and we're just kind of taking the idea.
Yeah, we do. Here in the States, we're not very big on arcades either. Like, it just doesn't.
Yeah,
exist.
arcades are sadly they're a dying thing here.
See, over here, we just don't come up with ideas. We just try to do it better with more money.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole arcade bar scene is popping right now.
Yeah, man.
Because, I mean, who are the people that are opening? They're the ones that have played arcade games when they were kids all the time.
Yeah, the arcade bar we went into was dope.
That one was really good. But then, like, the crowd there weren't the coolest.
No, they
people.
were
Like,
not.
it was a bunch
They
of,
definitely
like,
did not play video games at all. They were
No.
like trying
They
to.
were more there for the.
They were on Tinder
the
dates. They
brewskis.
were just trying to smash not buttons, but
Ooh, that's rough.
yeah, it's kind of sad. Let's see here. So Xbox doesn't consider Sony or Nintendo main competitors.
No,
Yeah.
Phil Spencer said this in an interview. He thinks Amazon and Google are his main competitors, about reaching the entire mass, not considering just hardware as his competition. Which I don't understand. You know, Google has Stadia. Anybody here have that?
It did really well, so I'm surprised I haven't gotten it.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, to go off of what Phil was just saying in that article, I don't remember the exact number, but there's blank amount of gamers that don't have that hardware. So they see the big competition is, you know, people can't afford Xbox or PS4s or Xbox X or PS5s, so they just pay the $20 a month and then they can get access to games. And they're trying to hit that number. They're not looking at the number of people currently playing games. They're looking at the current player base that can't afford the consoles, and they want to get to those people.
But do those
Which is
people
smart.
also have internet?
That's
Yeah,
the big gap.
It's not let alone just internet, but internet to that speed where
Yeah.
you're doing, you know, gigs a second.
Yeah, because I can barely afford my internet. And
Yeah, you
if I can't
basically-
afford a console, then I'm gonna have a really hard time
Yeah.
buying.
Unless you're in
That's just such a weird monthly number. It was like what, 150?
Stadia,
Yeah.
Stadia is 150 for that the beginning package,
Right,
which
right.
was for 3 months. You had it, and that was it. But now that just started literally like a couple days ago. It's $10 a month.
Okay.
Basically, to only have access to buy games. It's not even like a Netflix where you look at the catalog, you can click the game, and boop, you're playing it. It's not like that. You actually, you have to pay the $10 to then pay $60 for Red Dead to maybe be able to play it well.
Gotcha. So it's not really like a Netflix of games.
You know,
Not yet.
I really
No.
hate just going to GameStop and buying my games. I want to have to pay a service to buy my game.
Yeah.
That's
That
really
doesn't
at the
make any
point you're
sense.
doing now.
It's,
Yeah,
it's pretty
that's-
much just a
that's-
nightclub at that point. You got to pay at the door to get in, to then buy drinks that are watered down and overpriced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Say Steam did the exact same thing. Steam Mobile, where every game you have on your Steam library, you could go. You didn't have to download Steam. You didn't have to download the games. You could just stream the games from a different computer.
Right.
Copyright pending.
But the,
I mean, 'cause
thing
that's-
with,
I'll need my check later, Google.
the thing with Google Stadia for me is that, what if, like, my power, like, maybe not the power, but the internet goes out in the area for a moment. I can't play anything. What do I do with my life?
Yeah, that's you're pretty much
No, no.
done.
I'm, like, done. You know?
Yeah, and I
And
watched
then you're
people
gonna
doing
expire.
reviews on it. They literally were somewhere where they had amazing internet. They had like Comcast speed tests running on their phone next to the thing, and sometimes they were getting great, 1080p, It was awesome. But then literally other times it was just garbage. It was just like, and it's just inaccurate. I love the idea though. I really do. It's not feasible yet.
I just feel like we have so many
Yeah.
we have so many .NET problems now in games with like low ping servers that can't even hold 10 people in a siege game, or like you
Yeah, we have
play
problems at that point.
you play Apex and the .NET code is so bad that you can't even play a regular game. Like the first 10 minutes of a game are just bouncing around, rubber banding all over the place. And then now you want to stretch that across the US and everybody's going to be on the same servers playing video games.
Yeah.
Like imagine a Stadia only lobby on Apex. Not only would you not be able to play the game in the beginning, 90% you would go into a game and automatically top 8 because nobody else would connect.
Yeah, it definitely should have been something that should be play tested and baited.
What about
rather than unveiled?
What about the Amazon Game Studios?
Yeah, they have 3 games up. One of them's an MMO that they're making.
Games.
Like no idea when they're gonna come out. I didn't know it was a thing until I googled it.
Apple they both just recently dropped something. Apple, I can't remember what Apple's is called. It's been around for a while, but they're really starting to notice. All these big corporations are starting to notice how much money games make.
Yeah, I mean Apple.
They all want in on that.
Apple with the newer generation Apple TV, they bought like they did what Microsoft did, just went around and bought a shitload of indie companies.
Yeah, and that's all it takes. If they make if Stadia comes out with one game proprietary to them that's good and people want to play it, everyone's gonna try it.
Yeah, if they can like cop not even a high AAA title, like if they could cop a like Shovel Knight, something like that, something to that level where it's like pretty easy to run because you could pretty much run Shovel Knight on anything. So if they could cop that, then I feel like it would get more people interested in it because I'm imagining that game would also take less bandwidth. But
correct. But in relation to what we are talking about currently, Samsung literally yesterday just dropped. They are launching the S20, and they are releasing the xCloud, which is partnered with Xbox. So exactly what we thought. Xbox already has that huge cloud database already. They're already building that infrastructure. They partnered with Samsung now. Now they have their screens for their games. If you guys want to read on that, I'll just put it in there for you to look at in the Discord. But so literally what we already talked about is going to happen because Samsung, these screens are already, the phones are already great. If Xbox's infrastructure is any better than Google's, but they say it is. They say they put like $10 billion into it. That's a quote from Phil Spencer. That's what he said. Then maybe I can't imagine they're going to outbeat Google in that retrospect. But it's happening. So you can, I think the new Forza game will be on Samsung devices where you can just get an Xbox controller, the little dock, throw in your new phone, play Forza.
But see, they had that makes total sense because like a couple years ago they scrapped all the Windows phones, and the Windows phones you used to be able to run Windows Continuum and literally just hook it up to a screen and play games. Yeah. So that's super dope. I'll be about that.
If it works, I think it's great because if you're someone who commutes, if you're in a city, you take a bus, take a train, just play a game for a half hour.
Yeah,
it just makes sense. I would do it. I mean, aside from the Switch, it already exists.
The Switch is, in that sense, like the Switch is so dominant. Like I don't see myself wanting to run something on my phone, which I would have to like immediately go charge.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or I could just be like, I have a Switch. I have a really nice case for it. I took it to jury duty the other week, and I was playing Undertale. Like,
that guy was guilty for sure.
I don't want to like.
Yeah.
He's just
like guilty. No.
What?
Not paying
The whole
attention.
idea
Mr. Krasowski, what's your vote? Sorry.
Guilty.
What? Sorry, what?
Yeah. The whole idea of having to bring a controller with some weird dock to hold my phone on, like around with me, just seems cumbersome. Especially since I don't want to be carrying like a lot of things around.
But if you could just play it, I don't know, because if you could just play it via the phone without any kind of dock.
Well, the dock just holds the controller, like the phone to the controller.
Oh, okay, like those. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, just like the Stadia.
Exactly
if you've seen
like
the
the
Stadia
Stadia.
one, it's
Yeah,
exactly
it's the same
way.
Okay.
It's just with instead of Stadia's just Google, and they have like 20 games.
Yeah.
It's Xbox.
I feel it.
I
feel like at that point, then they're not even really trying to go for. Like they're not even trying to compete necessarily with the Switch in that retrospect. They're just trying to dominate the phone gaming area. They're just trying to find that niche, because like the iOS, like they've been killing it just because on Apple TV you could hook up you could pair your phone to an Apple TV and use whatever size monitor you want. It just does screen mirroring. You can play PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty Mobile,
Huh.
whatever.
Yeah, I think they're gonna miss the mark though, because they see all these people that play phone games, and it's not necessarily us. It's not like the gamer group, the people that actually play games. It's people that
Yeah.
want to play these weird, gimmicky, addicty /
Speaking
Waste
of
of time.
weird, addicting games, Raid Shadow Legends, the
Our
sponsor
sponsor.
for the video today.
Yeah, but all those weird games like that, and they may be fun. Like I think I played what was that one? I can't remember the name of it. The one that was super popular for forever.
There was that like cookie game.
You like built a castle and then you had to like go attack other people's castles.
Clash Royale.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
I remember playing that.
That
for
shit's
like
still
a week, and I
popular.
was
They
like,
have fucking
No-
tournaments.
the
Yeah.
the monetization is just insane though. How you?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just-
I immediately uninstalled it whenever it told me it was going to take 4 days for me to build something. I was like,
That's what I got to.
okay.
It was like a week, and I was like, I'm not putting money into this. But people do. That's the problem. People. Could you imagine like a real game that did that? Like, oh, God of War.
Star Citizen,
Kratos.
Warframe.
Warframe does it at least. You can grind for everything. But yes, to speed things up, you
Especially
can
Star
pay
Citizen. Justin was throwing up all these figures. He's like, bro, $75, you can get this little mini cruiser. It's a pirate ship, and we can go steal other people's ships, and then they have insurance on their ship, so they get their ship back. But then we get to keep their ship, and we can sell their ship. It's
But
like,
Star Citizen
Literally a
isn't
game
free to
with
play, is it?
insurance in it.
no,
No,
but
it's
you
not
got-
free to play.
Yeah, Warframe's free to play, and then they do give you a frame for free, which you can use in the meanwhile while you're unlocking other Warframes.
Right.
And pretty much everything in that game is free if you grind for it, and you don't even have to grind hard. You can just play, and it does take a little bit longer than just throwing $50 at the game, but at least it is free to play, and I played that game for a very long time.
sad face.
It's a good game.
Rip Warframe. Pour one out.
I mean, it's still doing great. They're
Yeah, it's still
expanding
doing
each
really
planet to
good.
open world. So before each planet was almost like you picked it, then you went into missions. Now it's you go to the planet and you walk around.
Yeah,
Which is,
yeah. When they
played it 4
did
years
that
ago.
when they did that desert planet, it literally blew everybody's brains. The
when they-
open world desert map or
Yeah.
whatever.
I remember watching the videos at TennoCon when they first announced the open world, and you hear a dude in the background literally losing his mind. He was like screaming, like, "Woo," like 'cause it was hilarious.
It's like when they announced new characters for Smash Brothers. All those videos of like the
mad people now.
sweaty dudes.
People going crazy.
Yeah,
bro.
the sweaty dudes in front of a projector just screaming.
Yeah.
All right. Well, E3.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk about E3 a little bit. Just news yesterday dropped that that Geoff Keighley is not going to be the producer or the host anymore, which is just the decline of E3. I just wanted to get your guys' opinion, what you guys think. I mean, it's not really the biggest game show anymore. It's just
I feel like it's just going down. Like I thought last year was good, but I mean,
I don't know.
everything has just become. Every studio is now doing their own reveal. It's
yeah.
this is our event now. Like PlayStation's supposed to have theirs sometime this month
Yeah.
still.
Mhm.
Rumored, unconfirmed, confirmed.
Well, they do state of plays every like
Yeah.
quarter.
They do
Pretty
stay in place,
much.
but then they have their Sony conference thing that's like
yeah,
for
like Sony has their
entire company, which is DVD players, no not anymore, Blu-ray players, TVs and stuff.
That old
So that's
where they,
the,
like,
the
why
VCR
wouldn't they
DVD
just-
combo.
Why wouldn't they have their PlayStation stuff there? Like it's
Yeah.
all in
Yeah.
one, because instead of having two different things.
It
And with-
seemed. Continue. Sorry.
And with the what we're doing right now, it's so much easier to get to an audience. You don't have to go to some event. Like back in the day, E3 was big because it was for like the community, and it was the only way developers could talk to the community. They had these big old conferences, and then it went private for a bit, and then it was just turning around. So it's had like this up and down. But now with Twitch and how easy it is to just stream everything, it's just like companies are like, why waste the money making these big old stages when we can just stream it online?
They do make some big old stages, but that was what I thought was so weird, because the last 2 years, with the years of the exception where Sony left, like they did make it this huge thing. Like I remember Ubisoft going crazy with these dancers and all this stuff.
Yep.
I'm like, why? And then they had the
Yeah.
chick from Archer. I don't remember her name, but I know she's an Archer. I don't know her name.
Yeah.
She voices the main character in Archer,
Mhm.
the Archer's protagonist or whatever. But
Yeah.
and then the flute guy, like we all remember the flute
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Come on, the flute guy. But it just seemed like E3 was becoming even better. Like not better, but it was growing where it's like a spectacle. It's not only about games, but it's like this fancy.
It's more of like
hour-long
an
event.
experience now. Like you're there
Yeah,
for game than like a show.
Right.
Which I loved. I like the weekend of E3 just nerding out, just looking at game stuff.
Oh
I love
yeah.
it.
Then
Um,
It is a good point in the year where I can just be like just like everything that drives my gaming is just like, yes, I can't wait for this, and this, and this.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But my biggest
And
thing
now
is
it's just
like
gone.
now, like even whenever they do big releases and they'll give us like a not so definite date, and then you hear rumors about an official date, and then it gets pushed back. Like Josh and I talked about this with Cyberpunk. We know for a fact that they delayed because they're going to wait for the next gen consoles. They got insider information on when the next gen console's coming out, and they're going to hold out and they're going to double dip. It's going to come out for PlayStation 4 and then immediately come out again for PlayStation 5.
100%.
On the same double dip.
I mean, because in an article I read, I can't remember the article or the website or whatever, but it said they were having trouble on older generation like the PS4, the original, and the Xbox original. They couldn't play it. They couldn't make the game run.
Damn.
So again, that's the problem that happens. But it's just like, yeah, just push the date back to make it a release for both consoles instead of just doing the GTA. They're gonna come out with it like in September. The consoles will drop in October, November, and then they're gonna, I don't think it'll get re-released right away. I think they're gonna be smart. It'll come out in now like January, February. So it'll be that 3
They're
month
gonna try to hit
gap.
the holiday again.
That's what GTA did. That's 100%. I remember
they did.
specifically that's what GTA, and everybody just bought it again. But mind
Yeah.
you, the new ones are backwards compatible, so it should look the same theoretically.
Yeah,
What
but I wonder if the disc. So like I wonder if they're gonna move the disc from Blu-ray to 4K Blu-ray. Like the physical game is just gonna be better.
Yeah.
Because if it's coming out for Sony owns 4K Blu-ray just like they did Blu-ray. So I'm assuming that would be what it would do. And they're gonna just, and also I wonder what the downscaling is gonna look like on the PlayStation 5 if you're because the way that it works now is you have Xbox One enhanced games, and so you technically have like a dual ripped disc, which I don't know how that works because they say that the games are so large that they had to move them to Blu-ray. But if you're able to hold 2 copies of the same game, I don't know how that works code-wise, but I just don't know if it'll be like the Switch, like we were joking about playing The Witcher on the Switch. Like, is it gonna even be worth it? Like, are you gonna even buy Cyberpunk for the PlayStation 4 knowing that the new PlayStation 5, and then let's just call it, pro version of Cyberpunk's just gonna be that much better that it's better to just hold out?
Yeah, I feel like they have the the dev kit for the future consoles, and I feel like they'll just have it. CD Projekt Red is a good company, like a
Right.
good publisher. They've never all their DLC was free, all their stuff is always free. They don't do any extra stuff. I can't imagine them doing that. Hopefully,
Yeah.
so we'll see. But I did want to note at least Ubisoft, Microsoft, and Square Enix are going to be at E3 still as of now. So it's just Nintendo's going to do their state of play, which I've always been okay with because Nintendo does it
They've
at
been
the same time.
Yeah, they've been
as
doing their same.
Yeah.
They've been on their own for so long that it's
Yeah,
not even weird.
I said Nintendo State of Play. I meant Nintendo Direct,
Yeah.
but y'all got it. But and then so
Yeah.
Sony does their thing the same time. I'm completely content. I just like the weekend to look at stuff, look at game trailers, and look at games. But that is very interesting that Jeff's not going to be there because he's been there. He's been with G4 and he's been with them for as long as I can remember. Really. So,
Yeah, I don't even know when, but yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know behind the scenes what's going on there because it's like everyone says the people that host it are just it's getting weird. I'm just like.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's the same shit that's going on with like the Golden Globes and the Oscars. It's like there's a lot of back end money that people just probably don't know, and the people that have been there for so long are understanding like the trend change. Because like the Golden Globes, I mean, they've turned into a joke, and like We just
Yeah.
had all of that debacle, and I mean,
Snubs.
yeah, I mean, it's just weird. I mean, I think money just ruins everything. Like money just meets its way into the higher ups, and then it's just gonna get real gross real quick.
Yeah. Well, just like with the whole Netflix Oscar thing, it's like
Yeah.
if they produce a movie, they make the movie just because it's not in theaters, which they technically have to do. Every Netflix movie that is a movie like worth it is in theaters in like 4 places, because in order to get Oscars and get nominated, it has to be in a theater. Which,
Mhm.
come on, like it's 2020, let's grow up. Like streaming, every place has movies and shows. Like get with it.
Yeah,
But,
and it's not like it's based on view count or anything. It's not like it's something electronically. Like it's just a nomination from whomever at the Oscars. Like it's not like a American Idol where I text in my vote at the movie theater that I really want Bird
it's
Bird
all
Box
sat
to
around by
win.
critics and watched.
Yeah. Which I never did get that call. I was pretty sure I'd won an Oscar, but they never let me know.
Hey, Eminem showed up at the Oscars.
He did. He
Baz.
didn't text me either, which I'm kind of I'm gonna text him after the show and ask him what's up. All right. Now we got some topics from Josh. Do you want to do the questions or do you want to do?
yeah, that's fine. These are from Phil. I just answered his question.
Right. No,
so
I
we'll
see
let-
that.
This is a little bit of stuff about us, because this is our first podcast. We wanted to, just do a couple questions and answers. I'm gonna let Phil start because he came up with these. But since I'm already here, it's what shapes us as gamers, what got us into gaming, and then just a couple of our favorite games and stuff like that. Phil?
So I guess I can start it off. Well, one of my earliest memories is when I was 3, and I played Super Mario on the NES. A year later, we get our Super Nintendo. So like probably the game that made me a hardcore gamer is because that was like one of the only games I played. It came with my Super Nintendo. Would be Super Mario World. Obviously it's a staple in anybody's library if they've been playing since the 90s. But then probably my favorite game of all time is Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Though I do see for this year some changes happening. Because I am, at the time when I made this change, I was probably a fourth of the way through Chrono Trigger, and it is now sitting at number 2. I'm halfway through the game, and I love every second of it. I listen to the soundtrack on my way to work and home from work. I literally restart it because I get through it, and just soundtrack's amazing.
Is that the one for like Game Boy Chrono Trigger?
No, it's Super Nintendo, so I'm playing it on the PS1. I'm playing the PS1 port on my PS2 right now.
I'm looking it up because I
It's
don't
a-
remember. The name sounds
it's
so
a-
familiar. I feel like
It's a SNES
That's
on the
It's
PlayStation
SNES
1 that you're playing on the PlayStation 2.
on a PS2.
I did
Okay,
play
I
okay,
that
had
okay.
One of
the,
those
because
are
the
cool.
PS2 it had this thing called backwards compatibility.
What?
You could
So did
play
the early
old
versions of the
games.
3.
Nintendo like, tell us more about this backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
That is their biggest downfall. I don't want to get off track too much, but the fact you have a portable console now that can go anywhere, and you have this huge backlog of portable games from Game Boy, DS, all that shit, and you can't play any of them. Like the fuck, like Fire Emblem for Game Boy is one of my favorite games ever. This is not my segment, but hey, but that shit you can't play it. But on the Wii U, you could rebuy it for $10 and play it. Like it just doesn't.
it's the
You have this
same-
huge cash out.
It's the same thing with the Pokemon games. They came out with all those
Yeah.
digital versions of all the Pokemon games, but you can't transfer any of those Pokemon to the new one.
Yeah.
So eat mine.
And then they fucking sue the shit out of any ROM site,
Yes.
to mankind. So you can't play their games pretty much unless you have the physical disc and the physical console or whatever. And it's just like,
Shout out to Cool ROMs.
yeah. But continue, Phil. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you too much there.
I mean,
My rant.
that's really it. I've been playing since I'm 4
It's
years
best.
old. That Super Nintendo was in our room, and I don't think it went a day without turning on. Without
Oh,
turning
on
it
bad
on.
boy.
Yeah.
So
And then
I'm old.
And you play games competitively or used to, correct?
I used to, yes. Back in the day, I played Halo competitively for a few years, but
Yeah. Well, with the
That's
Master
behind
Chief
me.
coming back on PC, you've been playing it. You've been
I
getting hooked up.
played 50 hours in the first 2 weeks, so I played it a little bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Bit.
Yeah. And then he went all retro. He's like, spaceships? Nah. I'm gonna stick with
Nah,
Master Chief's cool.
back to cartridge base.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh, Halo on the SNES.
Smith.
All right, well, Josh, go
Talking.
ahead. We'll just go clockwise.
Yeah, that's fine. So much like Phil, I feel like here their first console was a Super Nintendo or NES, but mine was a Super Nintendo. Played Mario for forever, but that was just casually. The game that shaped me the most and the best game ever in the year of our Lord, 1996, gave us Pokemon Red and Blue. I've played that. I think I beat that game like 20 times. I remember when I first got it, I didn't understand what fainted was, so I kept killing all the Pokemon and being like, why can't I catch any? And I literally, bro, it took me like forever to. I had like a level 80 Charizard, but I couldn't catch any Pokemon.
He walks into Brock's gym like, what up? I've been out there killing Caterpies all day, bitch.
Yes, but I played that game for literally forever. Like it's just I just remember the Game Boy, the color one that you could see through, just holding the light in the car rides and stuff, just playing it nonstop.
Did you have the one that like attached to the back and it flipped over?
The speakers and stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
I had.
Yeah,
I
had one of
remember
those
that.
Yeah, I remember just having like the nightlight, like all. I just played that game 24/7.
The little curly wire one.
Mm-hmm. Big facts. But the game that I would probably say is my favorite game of all time now, you already know, would be Total War Warhammer. It's made by the people that produce Total War games, but their Warhammer franchise is based off of the Games Workshop tabletop game. It's great if you want to look at it. It's all on Steam. All their Total War games, they have historical and fantasy. So they have like Rome, Attila, like the Shogun era, and they also have a era of like British versus us, which is, I never played that one, but it seemed cool. Definitely look into it. The game is the bomb. And if I had to think of a game that I played like competitively that got gave me that edge, I used to play any competitive fighting or shooting game or fighting game. So like Tekken, I remember playing Tekken 3 when I was a kid. Whoever lost had to give up the controller. Classic. I'd have like 10 friends come over, we would just play all day long. And again, Halo. I remember with Justin, we played, what was that, like 15 years ago? Playing Halo 3. And I just remember playing Halo 3 all the time.
Obliterated threes.
Yeah, I just used to play. And honestly, I think I played 3 more LAN party than anything. I don't think online wasn't like super crazy back in the Xbox age. Like the first one. So I just remember getting together with friends and having like, 4 TVs, the big ass, tube TVs.
Lugging 30 pound, 40 pound fucking TVs all over the place.
Let alone that first Xbox controller. Could kill people. But yep, that's basically it.
Duke.
Nothing too crazy.
It's so funny that like Pokemon played such a big part in 90% of people's lives, whether you like really stuck with video games or not. Like Pokemon is just that big of an IP. I remember getting on the school bus with Pokemon cards, and like literally the entire way, like I lived out in the country, an hour bus ride, where we would go pick up Phil at the end of our bus ride. And Phil and I met like what, in the fifth? I was in like the 5th grade. I think I was in the 5th grade. Phil and I met on the bus, and I was in the 5th grade. Been hanging out, chilling ever since. And I think we met looking at Pokemon cards on the bus.
That's a good. It's either Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yeah, it could have been either one, to be honest. And it literally escalated from there. We like talked about Pokemon. And then I would literally, because I didn't have any consoles other than like my handheld, like my Game Boy. Grew up playing Pokemon Yellow, was like one of my first games. Other than like NES, I had Castlevania, but never got out of the first room for the NES because I just literally could not figure it out. But I used to just sit at Phil's house and watch him play video games for hours until it was like, oh, my dad's here. Gotta go. But let's see, what are the questions again? First game, my first game ever was Castlevania on the NES, and it was the hardest fucking game in the world. My cousin Nathan got grounded, and as punishment, I don't know what he did. He may have murdered somebody because his mom gave me all of his Legos, his NES, and his SNES. Just straight up gave them to me.
Some G
That
shit.
kid,
Yes.
that kid killed a man. That kid killed a man.
Yeah. I actually haven't heard from him in a really long time, so I don't know what happened. But yeah, like, I literally had no consoles. This was, I think I had the original Game Boy, and I had, like, I don't even remember what I had on that. But, like, I grew up playing, like, Monster Hunter, like the very first one on, like, what was that, Game Boy Advance, where you had, like, the little blocks. But yeah, so it'd probably be, I think, my first 3 games I ever played, and they're probably the only games that I had until the PlayStation came out, because I never had, like, a GameCube. Didn't have Dreamcast. I missed that boat. I don't know if anybody here had a
Crazy Taxi, bro.
Yeah,
Crazy
I did
Taxi.
not get a Dreamcast.
I think
Never got a game.
My neighbor had a Dreamcast. Never got to play. I played it. I got to play it, but he never let me use the blaster when we used to play House of the Dead. Played House of the Dead, first one. Never got to use the fucking blaster.
Savage.
I gotta look at this because I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I had
The Dreamcast.
I had to skip.
What's the Dreamcast?
No, the blaster. I have no
Oh.
idea what that is.
It's the same thing as like a.
Yeah, it's like
NES.
the SNES
Yeah.
one. That's great.
Oh, you're talking about the gun for the Dreamcast. It was
Yeah.
called the blaster.
Yeah.
Yo.
I don't know what it was called, but it was just.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it was super strange. Like my gaming, there's just such a huge gap in my gaming, like, I guess, like, life, my
Yup.
career,
That's it.
because I straight up, like, went from NES, SNES. I didn't get N64. I had never even played an N64 until I was like 15.
So no Smash.
No, I had never played Smash, and I had never played Mario Kart until it came out on the Wii U. Yeah, because I played Crash Bandicoot Team Racing. That was like my shit. I had the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2. I was out there just straight wrecking.
You go over to your friend's house and you're like, they're playing Mario Kart. You're like, wow, this is a ripoff. This is like Crash Team Racing. And they're
Yo,
just like,
that's literally what I would.
this motherfucker.
Right. Or I'd go over to people's house and they'd be playing like N64, like Banjo-Kazooie, and I'd be like, wow, he kind of looks like Crash. Or like they'd be playing WWE versus, or no, what was it? ECW, or no, what the fuck, with the wrestling game for N64.
There's multiple. There's like
There's a
WCW,
bunch.
ECW.
WCW versus NWA.
NWO, yeah.
Yeah, NWO. Yo, that shit was hilarious. The controls were god awful. You had no fucking clue. Like, you had no idea what was going on. But oh my gosh, yeah. So like, those are my first couple games. Pretty much all NES, other than every Pokemon game that came out until they remade Red and Green. I stopped playing them after that. Favorite game of all time? I've probably put the most hours into either Chocobo Racing, which is a Final Fantasy racing game.
No way, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Or Midnight Club Dub Edition 3.
Ooh, it's a solid choice.
Because I didn't have, we lived out in the country, I had no internet, no nothing like that, so I just played the same games constantly. And then I did what everybody else did, where you take your entire game lot, you go to GameStop, and you get one game out of it, and you're like, this is worth it.
here's my 400 games.
Like, Phil and I waited for what, Gears 3, Darksiders, Halo Wars. Like, we waited for so many games outside of GameStop just to be like the first people in there playing it. Like, I mean, that was something I wish traditionally had kept going. Like, I love online games, but the fact of at work I did the midnight release for Breath of the Wild, and the amount of hype in people's eyes that they were getting ready to play Breath of the Wild when they got home. So amazing.
I mean, they still do. I buy games. Well, they don't do midnight anymore.
Right.
Yeah, no, they pushed on that
Yeah,
back.
it's like 7. or
Nintendo,
whatever.
they have to for Nintendo. Nintendo is hard street dated, so they can't. They have to do midnight for Nintendo games. But PlayStation, Xbox now, they just don't. There's no revenue enough to hold it off. But
midnight release I did, it was when I was working at Walmart, and I just grabbed it before I left because my shift got over at midnight.
Yeah, I don't work them. I just go there and buy. If I'm off the next day, especially nowadays with the you have to download it if it's a long
Yeah,
game.
because
So.
then you take 3-4 hours doing a download for an entire game.
You know what
Yeah,
games you don't have to download? Switch games. You put the cartridge in and it works.
And Stadia, play now, anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only other thing would be my current favorite game is Siege, obviously. Like, that's a big, hard, obvious. Like, I used to be such a Call of Duty fiend, played CeVo M. Even used to do shoutcasting with Phil, CeVo M,
Yeah.
some professional games back when I was a
Well,
squeaker.
a lot of those people we were casting for ended up being,
Oh, yeah.
cheaters.
Yeah, that was the craziest thing. We casted for CeVo M, which is CeVo Masters, which is basically the Challenger League in order to go on and play professionally. Over 85% of the league got banned for cheating.
Wow.
Because they
That's
don't
rough.
run anti-cheat on that. Like, they don't have, like, you just go into someone's private server and then you just play and that's it. But yeah, definitely Call of Duty 4 Pro Mod on PC, the absolute staple.
Play a lot of FPSs, I gather.
Yeah, anything that doesn't have a story or
I've tried. I've tried.
Or open world,
Any- yeah.
storyline,
Honestly, I'm just saying,
great
like,
detailing.
if because I was talking to Justin about this, I want to play Mario Maker really, really badly, and if they either do the Switch Pro, I'll hold out and buy that, or if they come out with that Pokemon RPG, I'll buy it. I'll buy it
Well,
and
they
play
just
it.
announced. Nintendo just announced like this week that they have no plans on coming out with a new hardware this year of 2020.
Okay.
They literally, because Jason Schreider from Kotaku literally just said, he was like, Switch Pro, Switch Pro, Switch Pro, and they were like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It's gonna be $100 more than the regular Switch. So was that 4?
Yeah, 4.
Switches are
Yeah,
3.
it'd be
Yeah,
like 4.
and it was gonna be better. But then Nintendo went back and was like, no new hardware for 2020.
Well, Pokemon.
I ain't got shit for Pokemon.
Well,
but,
guess what, Nintendo? You ain't getting my money.
Well, they're making all this money off of their DLC, so
That's true. Are they gonna add more Pokemon?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about
All
it.
right.
We're gonna talk about Pokemon.
Justin.
See, this is where I don't know where you are. I slightly, like,
Right here.
I'm in my mood.
same for Brandon, and then I differ, because my first console was a Sega Genesis.
I was waiting. I was like, Sega.
No way.
Okay.
That was my first.
My God.
So Sonic,
You were
Sonic
that kid.
2, yup, Castlevania, Tetris, Dr.
Tetanus.
Robotnik,
That's what I got when I was younger.
the Contra series, like those were all my first like early starting games. And then
Huh?
Oh,
What?
I thought you were gonna say something.
I'm talking to myself.
And then I completely like dropped console gaming and was like arcades. Like that's where I spent most of my gaming growing up. I was Soul Calibur, any fucking street game, like street racing game I could get my hands on. Any shooters. Time Crisis was a big favorite of mine growing up in the arcades. Most of those were really, really spent my time, and I didn't get back into consoles until the PS1. I got PS1 and played that for a while under the 2.
Tony.
Never had a 3.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1.
No Blu-ray player.
Ooh.
You were just like,
Nope.
I don't need a Blu-ray
1,
player.
2, went to Xbox, had probably 6 or 7 360s.
Red ring,
Yeah,
red
those
ring, red
things-
ring.
They're all wrapped in towels in the basement.
Yup.
Still running.
They're all fried.
I always
And then
loved
too,
when
my
that was
current-
that was like the question they always asked. Like when you called and you're like, my Xbox isn't working. Did you wrap it in a towel and leave it on? No, why would I do that? And then you hung up the phone and you did it and it worked and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Did you melt? Did you melt everything back into place?
No, I didn't think about that when I was.
Try that.
Yeah, thanks Xbox.
Right.
Then currently favorite game of all time is probably going to have to be Fallout 3. I've
Ooh.
dumped probably 900 hours 800 to 900 hours in that alone. Just
It's a good
every
game.
DLC, every location, every rare collectible item. Just that was my game growing up. And
What are you What are you playing
I
now?
don't know. What I'm
What do you
now kind of floating. Siege. I'm a Star Citizen,
Tell us about
but
Star Citizen.
Oh
'Cause
yeah, because I literally have no idea what it is. I just make fun of you for it.
yeah, that's a lot of people make fun of me for it, but it's okay. I'll dally into it because that's going to be a conversation of its own.
in a world.
In a world
Yeah,
where you buy
in
your
a,
ship.
in an open universe.
Mm. That's
Basically, it's open universe MMO. So it's trying to get on the levels of like Eve, like expanse wise, and like Elite Dangerous, but it's more. You're not just a ship like you are in Eve or such. Like you are you're a physical player. You can walk around. You can walk inside ships. You have ships that are from sizes like little fighters or massive aircraft carriers, and it's do what you want. Do you want to be a miner? You can do that. You can go around and be a pirate, like we were joking about earlier. You can blow people up, steal their shit. There's entire dogfighting groups. There's refinery, fuel gathering, there's a designated racing league. Like there's ships that are just designated as racers, and there's a map designated for just like racing. It's just a do what you want. Yeah, it's still open early, so you get your bugs and everything, but
Yeah. It's still in early access. I thought that released. Released.
it's alpha still.
No, yeah, because you can't get that on Steam or anywhere. You have to go to their
No, it's its
website.
own thing. Yeah, it's its own entity.
Interesting. Well, check it out. I tried. I looked into it. I dabbled. I did
Dabbled.
want to go off topic a little bit because I forgot to bring this up in the everything, but I think this is interesting. Did you guys hear about BioWare?
Mm-mm.
And their continued support of Anthem.
Oh yeah. I did
I
see
saw
that.
that. I
Yes,
didn't read
did
it,
see
though.
that.
Yes. So, did any of
Trying
us
to
here get
rebuild.
it? I know Justin and I played
No.
the
Yeah,
beta.
the beta.
Phil
The
bought it when
alpha.
it was like what, $20?
I bought it. So I am too much of a collector, so this is really bad because the game isn't great. I bought it for $15 on PC. Realized that with my gaming setup, it'd probably be best for me to play that on my Xbox. So I have it on the Xbox One. I paid $10 for it. So in total, I paid $25 for 2 copies.
Sweet. Yeah. From what I've seen, it's just rough. But they don't have a roadmap, but they are completely overhauling everything, and that's all they've said so far. Because there was that recent thing where people were making fun of it for having the Christmas lights up still.
Oh yeah.
And it's not Christmas. But I was just curious if any of us played it. I knew me and Justin played it during the alpha.
They did that alpha
Which it
beta.
wasn't good then. So
No,
that's when I knew I wasn't gonna get it, when I played the alpha, and I was like, the flying's fun, but other than that, I was like, this is shit.
I feel like when games like that look super pretty fail, they should just spend all their time using all the models and assets to do like a cinematic movie, like the Warcraft movie. Just make Anthem a movie and charge everybody $5, and hopefully you make more than you would have made with the game.
Yeah, I wish the Warcraft movie was better, because I enjoyed that movie. But it didn't make it. Didn't not better. I wish it did better in theaters.
So we actually have a question from the chat. He said, Level Uppers says he'd like to know our opinions on the gaming climate today with recent decisions from Blizzard and Bethesda's, as well as Skew Gamers microtransactions. Oh, from EA. Gotcha. He's basically talking about, I'm assuming, different companies that abuse microtransactions. I think he said Screw Gamers. Yeah, Screw Gamers.
Oh, don't even get me started. 2K literally has a lottery.
They have the player lottery.
Fucking what's it called? A slot machine.
Slot machine
in their thing, but it just blows my mind because everything I watch and all the community is like, fuck microtrans, they suck. But then they make so much money.
Yep.
EA's quarterly report was so much money. It was so much. And I've played Madden. I'm a huge fan of that game. and I've dabbled in Ultimate Team for like 1 second, and I was like, I'm not giving this any money, and you have to for it to be entertaining. Basically, you get your football team, but you get cards and characters and stuff, and to get better characters, you get packs.
Is that for Ultimate Team?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And FIFA's the same way, and that's where EA makes most of their money is FIFA and Madden. It's the exact same.
Well, that and now I'm assuming Apex, right?
Yeah,
I would assume Apex is up
Because
there.
that shit's $16 for a skin.
Yeah. But comparatively, Fortnite's
Yeah,
the same.
Yeah, Fortnite, like you will never be able to contend with Fortnite and CS:GO when it comes to microtransactions. Like CS:GO literally had to shut down part of the game. They had to close most of the auction sites because people were money laundering. Like if you have a skin, like there's a dragon, there's skins in the game. There's a sniper called the Op, and if you were to get a dragon lore, at one point, a dragon lore sold for $10,000 cash money. And then these websites would basically create a secondary account, and you would give your skin to that person or to that secondary account, and then they would give it to the person you sold it to, and then the money would get transferred into your account. But that website would take a portion of it. So all these websites were panhandling. Instead of going through Steam, you would just go through these secondary websites, and Valve was like, no, you're not gonna skip our 2%. Because if you sold that shit on Steam, they would sell on Steam for anywhere from like $5,000 to $4,000, and they would take 2% of that. But then Valve was getting dicked because the government was like, well, that's basically gambling. Because you'd have all the keys, you'd have all the boxes, and they had CS:GO.
Yeah.
They had CS:GO Lotto websites where you would basically you would log in to Steam through the website, upload your entire inventory, and it would be a 50-50 coin toss. They would show you a skin on the screen, and you would hit a coin on the screen. It would flip it, and if you won, you got everything that was in that inventory, or you lost everything that was in your inventory. Straight up fiends.
That's fire.
And it was hilarious because it was rigged. Josh OG, there was a League of Legends streamer who switched to CS:GO. He basically knew what the odds were going to be, and he had like 12 dragon lores, so like $120,000 just chilling in his inventory, and he would be able to cash out, but we have no idea if he actually ever made any money. Let's see here. The level upper says he's a huge fan of Elder Scrolls, and after 76, I'm worried about I'm assuming not his age, but after 76 years, I'm worried that maybe I'm a wizard. So he's a huge Elder Scrolls fan, and after Fallout 76, he's worried how Elder Scrolls 6 is going to turn out. Having said that, I don't mind microtransactions in F2P games.
Free-to-play
games. Oh, okay, but I think that they have no place in retail games. Thinking gamers should have access to all the content for $60. Absolutely, that's what everybody wants. And then microtransactions and day one DLC. Yeah, we talk about that with what was it when we played Star Wars, right? It was like day one DLC. Yeah. Battlefront. Microtransactions on fucking steroids.
Yeah, I just want to add real quick to that last notion. EA made I lost it. Made $993 million in Q3 of 2020. Yeah, from microtrans. So, yeah,
I mean,
just microtrans.
I have something to add to this because it's like my whole background. I have a very retro and like old gaming nature that what you pay for is everything you should get. The game should be done. So I don't even play DLC.
Yeah.
I play what the game, like if you're gonna put out a game, that is what it should all be. As the artist, the story writer, like you're done. I don't care about the next thing. Like I really enjoyed Kingdom Hearts 3, and I was in GameStop and I was like picking up some JRPGs, and the guy's like, "Oh, did you hear about Remind?" I'm like, "No," and I don't plan to play it.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts has always been that way with their weird things.
So for microtransactions, I tend not to even go for it if I don't have to.
Yeah, but to comment on what the viewer was saying, I would be extremely worried with Fallout 76 being the dumpster fire it was, coming out with that. It was. Again, that was a game I played the beta.
No, it's 100% a dumpster fire.
I played the beta, and then I was like, I'm not playing this shit. But I can't remember what it's called, but the Vault Pass, where it's like $10 a month or whatever, and you get access to the servers, your own server, and all this stuff that also didn't work. Like you had an unlimited vault where you could stash your guns, but it had a glitch where you'd put your guns in and they just disappear. And stuff like that. So it's just like being an Elder Scrolls fan, which I actually played the online Elder Scrolls. I enjoy it. I don't like the mainstay games, but I liked the online ones. So and I liked the what was the last one I played? Morrowind, I think it was called.
Mhm.
And I fucks with it. It was fun. But 76 has me extremely worried about Bethesda as a whole.
I don't. But the
thing.
thing is I think they're because how they run that. I think the people that work on Elder Scrolls, like Elder Scrolls Online, is actually done by like a different company.
Okay.
But the Elder Scrolls, like the big like Skyrim thing, I think those people are the ones that are focused on the story-based open world stuff.
Yeah.
So these won't be people that are working on Fallout 76 at all.
That's true. Yeah, I see what you're saying, because it's there's Elder Scrolls the game, then Elder Scrolls Online, then Fallout the game, then Fallout Online. So that is true. But to also comment what we were talking about earlier, I hate it. Like when Spider-Man's a perfect example. Amazing game that had planned DLC. Like the game came out and they were like, "Hey, do you want to spend $30 for the new missions that are coming out in a month?" It was a month. I remember that game came out in September, and in October they had DLC, and I was like, "Oh, eat a dick!" Like, there's no way. Like, because that's just planned.
That's how most of the Call of Duties have been.
Yeah.
Almost every Call of Duty dating back to God knows when, you could almost plan on that.
Right, and here's a perfect example that's okay. Zero Dawn, a game I didn't beat. I know Justin did. He loves it. But that game was awesome. They came out with a full game, full complete game, and then that was like a year later they came out with the DLC.
Yeah, but that was because the studio. I'm pretty sure it's because the studio almost closed.
Really?
Yeah.
No, Guerrilla Games is doing way too.
Was
good,
it Guerrilla
'cause
Games,
Sony
or
owns
did
it.
they just
Guerrilla.
take focus off of it?
They were probably thinking about what to do next.
Because that now, like at work, that sells as like when you buy the game, you buy the DLC in it now.
Yeah.
It's like a little card you just put in the thing.
Yeah, like I was saying, like Fallout 3 is a perfect example. Like the $60 base game, wonderful, and it's the after DLC that was not exactly planned right after, but the ones that came, a year after, 60 months to a year after the game came out, that extended the storyline, which is good.
Yeah, because I don't even.
It's the ones where it's like, hey, here's release. Next month, though, we got you with that DLC, though. You got to get it.
Yeah.
Like, you want to finish the story, that's it.
Because I feel like Call of Duty was never even that bad. Like, I played Call of Duty Modern Warfare for a long time. Like, I was playing it on 360 when the Xbox One was out, because I just loved that game so much. And, like, leading up to, like, Advanced Warfare, all the DLC was pretty solid. Like, you got, like, I think, what was it, Modern Warfare 2 got, like, 4 map packs. Like, there were so many maps.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really no different than like, what is it, like Siege? I mean, the season pass, like that's the new thing now is season passes.
Season passes.
That and battle passes.
Yeah, season pass, battle passes, like they're just. I don't think that there's a way. I don't think there's the big ideology that we're gonna be able to get $60 games or get our money's worth, but it's just not a reality. Like unless you buy indie, I mean, you're not gonna.
No, the thing is I think that is mainly an American thing.
Oh,
Because because I have like played a little over an hour of it. Persona 5 in its full, you do not have to buy DLC. You can get 200 hours out of the game itself.
Where's CD Projekt Red out of?
They're out of Poland.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Because like,
and like with them too, like their games are full. Like The Witcher 3, I mean, to beat the story, I didn't do a lot of the extra stuff.
Full.
40 hours just to beat the story itself, and for me, that's my money's worth.
Yeah.
Like, because that's a lot of time.
Yeah, and if you buy that game disc, because I'm sure Phil bought it on PC, they have it in the disc. It literally, there's a cutout that says, "This is a whole game. We feel like you shouldn't have to pay anymore." I mean, mind you, they came out with DLC after. But then that was a full game, and I'm okay with it. If you come out with a game and it's a full game, and that game is so good that you're like, I just want more, and then they give you more that was aside from that. But when it's paid, again, like Spider-Man, where it's like they already they have to be done if it's coming out. If the game came out in September and the DLC is coming out in October, that shit's done. I mean, there might be a little bit of polishing, but. And my friend bought it.
Yeah.
It's just missions. It was just missions with a couple new bad guys, reskinned bad guys. I was like, oh, you're tripping.
Yeah, it's just pre-cut content. What it is.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, I think that there's. I mean, it's just with anything. It's like it's getting so watered down, and there's so much saturation in the market. They have to do like these little quirky things that are like gonna make you want to buy more. Because I can't even think of a game. I can't think of a single player game at the moment that I've looked at and really felt like it was worth the $60. Like other than Horizon Zero Dawn, which was the last game. Like I bought it for Phil's PlayStation. I didn't even have a PlayStation yet.
That's the copy I have.
And I literally saw it and I was like, this is like insane. Like I watched a playthrough of it. I had already seen the ending, but I just wanted to play through it. And then what was that other game? Hellblade Sacrifice. I want to play that, and it's like a movie, right? Like
I'll give it to you. I have it on PlayStation. It's like 2 to 3 hours. Wear it with headphones because it's like a psychosis.
Okay, it's a sensory
experience.
thing. Okay.
Yeah. So it's great. I have it on PlayStation 4. I'll let you borrow.
Yeah, and then they're coming out with 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is a Microsoft exclusive. It's which it will later go to PC.
Oh, what's your cheap drink? What you drinking there, bro?
My cheap drink. My drink is a dry hot stout from Schlafly here in St. Louis.
Local.
It's in their this year's stout bout.
Stout bout. They just fight.
Pretty much.
That's fair.
Let's see here.
There is something I wanted to bring up.
Mhm.
This is just my rant in life, and I wanted your guys' opinions. We already kind of hinted at it earlier. The whole Pokemon situation. As someone who just bought that shit literally this past week because I just wanted to play it. I did originally boycott it as best as I could. It did not matter. They sold 16 million copies as of now, which is bonkers. It's a good revenue stream there. But they are coming out with the DLC. As you know, I think you could just get it today, actually, or the 9th, recently this week. It is $30 for the, I don't remember the names. It's like Electric Tundra or something Mountain Range.
Oh,
bullshit.
yeah.
We just talked about this.
Yeah, the Island of Armor.
Yeah. I was like, I just gave you the
Tundra.
names.
Yeah, you did. I just wanted to get your guys' opinion. So it's basically the big problem with Pokemon was the new one came out. They didn't do much change. I'm not a huge fan, I don't have a huge anger for the whole Pokédex thing. I don't think I need 1,000 Pokemon in a game, but a lot of people did because they do collect them all. And all this does is give you new regions, which I'm completely okay with if the game is a full game, which it seems like it was, and then they're giving you extra areas. But they are also releasing Pokemon that were already out previously in other games, and they look exactly the same. And again, it's $29.99 for both. You can't buy them separate. You have to buy them both. One comes out in June, one comes out in October. But again, you get new Dynamax Pokemon, and you get new Pokemon. I think it's like 100 that you get in each region. Each game you get. Shield has different ones. But I just wanted your guys' opinion. I don't know which ones of you bought Pokemon, if any.
The last Pokemon I played was Silver and Gold, so it's been hard for me to get back into them.
That's fair.
But I know this one's like taking off, but then I also like hear people that have been playing Pokemon for a long time that it just feels like strictly mobile. It doesn't feel like something that should be played on a console type of thing.
I've only played it so far. I've had it this week. I bought it past Friday. I've only played it on my handheld. I heard the frame rate's complete garbage on the dock, so I haven't even touched it. I heard because the game is it's decently big. Like you have background stuff. Like you can be in they call it like the wild areas, and like the town can be visible. So I heard
Does it like
drop
tilt?
is crazy.
Does the view tilt like behind your back a little bit?
It's better than top down. It's pretty close.
Okay.
Like you can see around you and stuff. But I heard the pop up is really bad on that. But I haven't messed with it. The TV's huge, so I was like, I don't want to. I think it's gonna mess it up. But the additions they added were cool. Like when you're walking around the Pokemon, you can see them in the grassy areas instead of it just being an exclamation point and then the battle. You can literally see the Machop right there, and he'll look at you, and then if you guys touch, then the battle starts. So you can literally be in the bushes, and you could just dip, dodge, and keep it pushing.
Oh wow, okay.
But not only, and this is something I really like, in the non-grassy areas, Pokemon can pop up, but they're like fucking Diesel. Like I'm only like 4 hours in, and like an Onyx popped up that was level like 46, and I was like, my Pokemon were like level 15, and I was like,
So
"Get the
obviously
fuck
you
outta
whipped
here."
that.
Yeah, it because so you it pops up and it's like a super strong blank wants to battle, and I was like, oh, that's cool. So they did do some things, mind you. That I really want more moves. I think 4 is ridiculous. Come on, like that you basically have to delete any strategic moves for the OP moves to
Mhm.
make it useful.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
I feel like the idea of like decreasing someone's speed, decreasing IVs
Yeah.
in that game just doesn't seem to be realistic.
Yeah, but it's useful. Like we've all been there playing Pokemon, even the originals, where you fight like a Sandshrew and the fucker hits you with 5 sand attacks, and you can't touch him because that sand attack
Yeah, yeah,
lowers
yeah.
your
Accuracy.
accuracy.
Yeah.
So
There's
I've had
actually,
that happen. I've had a while, and I have to switch my Pokemon because these dude just hit me with 4 sand attacks, and I can't touch him.
Yeah, bro, but I
Um,
mean, that's a lot of sand in your eyes. So
Pocket sand, that McCree shit.
see, we got another question in the chat. How do you guys feel about games as a service option? They're coming out with like the Game Pass from Origin and then PlayStation Now.
I've had what was the one that they just canceled? Was it PlayStation Now?
No,
That
PlayStation Now
it
is
was
the thing.
streaming. I could have sworn that. Oh no, they
no,
canceled
PlayStation, the
View.
View.
View, yeah.
It was the
PlayStation
View that
Okay.
PlayStation canceled.
I had the free trial of PlayStation Now, and it because I wanted to get into the Uncharted stuff, so I played it, and it didn't seem very good. I think it could only stream at 720, and I have a 75-inch 4K TV, so it looked horrible. So I stopped. I can't speak to it any more than that since I haven't played it since. I love the
Yeah.
idea. I love the idea. Like even if I wish I could even rent a game for an hour. Like how a lot of games have timers now. If I could rent a game for $4 for an hour to see if I like it before I buy it digitally, boom, like
Right.
that'd be awesome.
And level, we talked about Stadia and a bunch of the other services earlier in the stream, and we're gonna post this to. I'm gonna try and snag basically our name on YouTube, but I'll cut the VOD and have that on Twitch as well, on this Twitch account as well as on YouTube. But we basically just talked about like Stadia's just way too inconsistent. Like it's not. I mean, there aren't enough people with the qualifications to really play stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
PlayStation View is the same.
It's the same kind of
It's just
thing. Yeah.
it's just the PlayStation's your hub.
Right.
But I've heard it's been drastically improved. This was like 2 years ago when I got it because they
Yeah, I
had
did the same thing. I only had the free trial, but
One thing with
no.
PlayStation Now is that you can now play, like, if you're a PC gamer and you have a subscription to PlayStation Now, you can play God of War, the new one, on your PC. And Horizon Zero Dawn is supposed to be coming to that as well. It says so. Like if this would be a way so that you don't have to, go out and buy a whole PlayStation to play the new God of War.
I heard
That's
about
all I
that.
wanna play.
Gotcha. So Level was talking about subscription services for a library of games, not streaming them.
So that's like PlayStation Now, the Xbox Game Pass. I personally don't use them. Even though I have way too many digital games on Steam, I prefer physical. I prefer having it. So a games for service, like where I have to download, wait for it, then take time out of whatever else I'm planning to play, whatever is coming from that service, seems like a waste of money. And then it's like $40 a month or something.
Yeah, I mean the only one that's relatively affordable would be Game Pass, in my opinion. Like for the volume of games you get, because it's like it's $12, I think, for 6 months.
No, it's Game Pass is expensive because I did to play.
I don't know. I got like
Halo,
5 years of
to
it.
play Halo.
I got you.
Halo
Real quick,
5 online. I used the $1 one that came for PC. But then it was saying that sometime this month it would renew because there's $1 for 3 months. It was pretty nice, but it was gonna be $44.99. So
okay.
But like PlayStation Now has like 800 games if you count PS1 and PS2,
So,
PS3. That's all in it.
What the viewer was asking though was, how do we feel if it existed where there was a PlayStation Now, same subscription, but you downloaded the games? Correct.
Well, the question is this. So it says, I don't necessarily mean streaming the game, but the subscription service for a large number of games. Origin Game Pass is like $4 something a month. You get access to all EA's games as well as early access to new releases. I mean, but it's all streaming them, right? You don't technically just download them.
No, you do download.
You do from the Origin Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'd be okay with that. It just depends on if you. I'm super okay. I mean, it's just GameFly. I don't know. That's old as shit. GameFly. But if the games you're playing and the time you put into those games is worth that money, so say Origin, so Madden, Battlefield, FIFA, I don't fuck else they have. I feel like that's it. But say you love those 3 games and it's $10 a month, then yeah, because those 3 games is going to be $180 full price or $10 a month. So if you're playing those games for a year, and Madden's a yearly game, so if you pay $10 a month and you got other games, that would make more sense than buying, those games. The math checks out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But do you also get DLC with that?
I fucking doubt it. Let me look into it while you guys.
Also, Phil, Game Pass is $15 a month for the ultimate one.
That's
so
what
that's
I thought.
PC,
I knew it was pretty cheap.
PC console, and that counts your gold as well.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because I think it was going to double. It was going to renew my 3 months, so it was adding each month.
Oh,
true.
Yeah.
Still, I don't know. For me,
that's what we paid for a while for 7-8 years.
That's different.
That's different. I was able to be an elf.
Whole world.
I think this is strange with Origin Access too, because isn't Origin going away?
It is
all their
going
shit's
bye-bye.
to
It is.
So.
Yeah.
Origin is going away.
Yeah, Origin was fucking a lot. The basic was $4.99 for a month or $30 for the year. That's their basic. The premium was $15 a month or $100 for a year. So that's not terrible. $100 for a year. Yeah, if it gives you their top tier games, which I don't think it gives you every good game because that just isn't financially sound.
Right.
But I see that you got Mass Effects on here. The first 3 are fire.
And if you do the basic, it's
Falls.
not terrible. I'm assuming that's what Level's talking about. He bought the basic just to get Battlefield 4, and he got all the DLC.
Yeah, and that's awesome because I love Battlefield.
Yeah,
so
that's
if you just
the
want
deal.
to play that.
I mean, I see a reason for it. Like, if you're someone who just loves digital games and can hop around like that, fine. It's not something for me. That I feel
you're like
to.
me, where I am digital with movies and like box sets. Fucking love it. I'm not gonna rent or have like a digital catalog. I'm not gonna like log into a website that has like all the movies I paid for just digitally. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I only do that if I get the digital copy of a movie I already own, because then wherever I'm at, I can just stream it. Like, I think it should be similar to that. In like, my perfect quote unquote like Stadia would just be, I can go out, buy games, load them onto, like, say my Xbox Series X. I can load it onto that, and I can just play them wherever I want. Like, that would be ideal. But it just comes down to like publishers and devs won't give like cross compatibility. It blows my mind that literally the Xbox Series X is going to be a PC that you still can't buy PC games on.
This is very strange, but it's just like with Microsoft, the games. When they say a game comes out on Xbox and PC, I was shocked when I first got in a PC game a couple years ago, where Microsoft, when you log in for their games, it's an Xbox account.
Yeah.
I was like, that was weird.
It's almost the same thing as a dashboard.
Yeah.
I mean, but the Xbox One runs Windows 10, and so it just literally makes no sense. Like, there's no way the code is any different. It's just not. Like,
I mean, my method is get a Switch because it's dope. Get a PS5 for the exclusivity.
Okay.
And there's no reason to get an Xbox X where you can just build a PC.
Exactly. Yeah.
To my knowledge, there's no Xbox exclusive game. I think Senua, the new one, is going to be for a little bit, and then they're going to swap over to PC as well. So just be patient.
Yeah.
Just be patient. But I think we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to go to...
We think Kingdom Hearts 3 will see a PC version? I don't.
I don't think...
I don't think any Nintendo exclusives are going to pop over.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3
it's not
is
Nintendo.
Square. That's
Square Enix, but isn't it?
Square
it's
Enix,
on...
but I don't think it's going to pop over.
No.
But don't they have? No, it's Disney. I'm sorry. I meant to say Disney. I don't think Disney is really like friendly with letting people have like free reign over their characters, and I think on like a PC platform, because then they're gonna just want everything. Like I feel like anything Disney related, I just assume they want total control over.
Yeah.
But,
That would be good though. I'd be okay with it. It's so much more difficult for devs to port stuff like that because there's so many graphics cards and such. They just don't even want to waste their time.
I mean, if you don't have
So
like a 1070 or above, I mean, like, what are you
yeah,
even doing?
yeah. Well, that or they'll have some Norwegian team do it that you've never heard of, and then the port's bad, and then
Yeah.
we've all seen bad ports before. So
Mm-hmm.
But let's shoot over to Phil. You wanted to talk about what you picked up this week?
Yeah, just here at the end, because this is
Phil's-
all actually
Phil's closing pickups.
this is all from Tuesday and one thing today that I saw at a place you won't guess, so I had to pick it up while I was there. First, you guys can all read that, right? You read Japanese?
Let me.
I see that I can read the U. That's all I got.
All right. So yeah, I had to import this to get a physical copy.
Okay, what is it?
It is Ikeni to Yoki no Setsuna. So if you've heard the last word, you know the game. It's I am Setsuna. The only way you can get a physical copy is by importing it, so I imported that.
Okay.
I tried out the Phantasy Star Online 2.
That just got
Closed
announced that it's
beta.
coming here.
It was on Xbox One this weekend in NA. It's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah.
I loved it so much, and then I'm so sad it left. I bought the anime. So they did an anime. You can't see that
It's
too
good.
well.
Phil's full converting.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah,
and then the same week he texted us and said, "When are we going to Japan?"
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just great stuff. Then it's been sitting in my box. This is Cowboy Bebop.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna move that because I have interesting. Then I found this at a retro game store. SD Gundam Showdown Force Showdown.
Ooh.
I had never seen it, so I picked it up. I picked this up.
Phil, I don't mean to interrupt you, but level uppers, who's your question directed towards?
I'm assuming to Phil because he bought the Japanese game.
Yeah, I was also going to question Phil on that same subject.
Oh no, Switch is region free, and that game comes multi-language. So when I popped the card in, it switches to English.
Oh, sick.
Learn
So if
something
it's
every day.
multi-language, you don't have to worry about that. But all Switches and PS4s are region free. So you can play Japanese games even if they're in Japanese on your Switch or PS4.
Dope.
But then I picked up this Gundam figurine
Okay, look at
at
you.
Walgreens.
Oh, that.
Yeah, you just got
Walgreens.
You're just
Walgreens.
stunned
Did
this
you
week.
did you go like back in time? Walgreens in the 90s, or
No, I
they
didn't.
had a Gundam?
And then
at,
this came out Tuesday. It's the Yakuza Remastered Collection.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Yakuza 3, 4, and 5. And then one thing that I thought is funny. So in this collection, I didn't understand it at first, but then it made sense. So this is the Yakuza 5. It comes with a PS3 looking case. And I was like, why did they do that?
I got scammed.
No, when I looked it up, it is for collectors in general. Yakuza 5 never came out not digital in the West.
I think they just got a release for a collection set.
Yeah, that's
Yakuza
what this
series.
is. So this is
But like
the
official.
remastered collection on
Shit.
PS4.
Okay.
So it's got 3, 4, and 5. But for collectors, if you had 3 and 4 on your PS3, you could never in America get Yakuza 5 PS3 physical.
So it's a PS4 game in a PS3 case.
Yes.
Dope.
Interesting. Level uppers. I'm jealous. Only because you could play all the Fire Emblem games that don't exist in the States. I've always wanted to, but that game is only text, and I would have no idea what's happening. So I'm very jealous, and that would be cool as fuck.
AF.
Yeah.
AF.
AF.
Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to go over a couple cool animes I'm watching this week, because that's my thing and my jam. I just started into Darwin's game. That's on episode 6. I'm a little late to the game on that one. ID Invaded is really good of this season if anybody's interested. And obviously, of course, pick up this simulcast of My Hero and Black Clover. Those are on Saturdays and Tuesdays. But the new ones this week are ID Invaded and Darwin's Game. Those are, again, the anime season's a month in now, the new season. I'm just a little bit behind, so as we get going here and keep a little bit steady of a schedule, I'll give more thoughts and opinions as we go along.
Did you watch any more of No More Guns or No Life Guns?
No Guns Life.
No Guns
Fuck
Life.
no.
No, you didn't watch any more of it?
We
both watched like the first episode and that was it.
I watched like 4 episodes. It already
Oof.
got approved. It already got confirmed for a season 2 that's coming out next season.
Okay.
And I just couldn't.
Some Guns Life.
Yeah, I loved the character. I hated his face was a gun because I couldn't get into it. I don't know. I don't know. It was good animation. I just didn't.
I thought the fights were dope.
The fights were good.
I thought the fights were
yeah.
dope.
Yeah, I just couldn't fully get into it. The fact that it's getting a season 2 makes me want to give it another shot. But I'm currently about to start and finish Megalobox because I'd never finished it.
You never finished it?
No, I never finished
Oh,
Megalobox.
that's finale though.
I heard. I never finished it. I bought the box set actually.
Gosh.
But also Re-0. It got confirmed for another season. I think that's coming up as well. That was a really popular anime overseas as well. I just never got into it, but I'm gonna start it and finish it probably this week as well. So a couple things that I'm gonna watch. Nothing too crazy.
When's Fire Force start back up?
Next season. What are we in now? We're in winter, so spring.
In March.
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometime probably March, April.
I don't know what Phil's been watching, anime-wise.
Yeah, Gundam is leaving Hulu, so if you're a Gundam fan out there and you want to watch it on Hulu, you better get on that.
I actually was watching
8 days. 8 days until it expires on Hulu, whatever that means. So
expires.
Stop paying their subscription. It's gonna expire.
Bad milk.
So I got 5 episodes, 4 episodes left of Gundam Wing, and I watched a lot of it as a kid, but I don't remember it. So I've been going back through that for the past year.
Oh man, let's see. My list is pretty wild. It's very short, very compact, and I very watch them sparingly. But yeah, I'm gonna bring up my Kiss anime. There's so many on here that I've been introduced to just because of Josh. Obviously watching My Hero. I don't think Seven Deadly Sins is back on yet, but it might be. Yeah, I've heard it's like going out the window. And I watched them go back in time or whatever, and that was pretty much all I
don't
could
have
stand.
any pennies, but that's their animation budget. I'd show you a penny.
Ouch.
But I don't have a penny.
And then you said the new Sword Art wasn't that great either.
I enjoyed it. It's very long. It's like 3 arcs.
Okay.
It's like taking that long. It's like 20 episodes so far. But it's good. It's Sword Art. It's nothing's gonna battle the nostalgia of the first 2 arcs, the first 24 episodes.
Right.
But there's so much, and overseas Sword Art's like
The thing.
like the holy. It's like case closed in that
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Case closed.
It's super. Case closed, bro.
Case closed.
It was like 600 episodes of Case Closed.
The
Hold on. Overlord. There's a season 3. Okay, Level Uppers. I think I watched it. I don't know. That anime never.
Season 4 Overlord. Yeah.
It never. It's one of those animes that you want to go, but it never goes. Like I just want it to continue and do something, but it just never does. I think I stopped midway through season 3. I watched up season 1 and 2. Easy peasy, loved it. But then it just never went anywhere for me. So I stopped.
Yeah.
Continue, Brandon.
Well, that's how. I don't know. I'm really just waiting on Netflix to put out Castlevania. I'm waiting for
March 5th.
Megalobox Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish they would do another version of. I don't know who animated it. I have to look it up. But the Pokemon Origins that came out, it was like a 4-episode mini-series that basically told the story of Red from the perspective of the video game.
Okay.
Significantly better. I mean, but the only other thing I've been watching is I've watched Akira 3 times this week.
Yeah. Well, you're in drawing, so you have to appreciate the cell shaded. Like
So
they
good.
they drew it.
So good.
Yeah.
There's frames that if you stop on that movie, you're like, there hasn't been a lot of like really because they kind of push the envelope on like the government poisoning people, and like I don't know, it's like maybe like some foreshadowing to the coronavirus.
Yeah, it's amazing because excuse me, I watched that anime like 2009, and I was like, this is good, but you forget that anime came out in like 1989 or some crazy
like
shit.
80, yeah, it was like 86 or 89. I mean, like like the fact that they painted every one of those frames.
Yeah.
Like that's bonkers.
Right, but
and then
all right.
Yeah, Vinland Saga. That's the only other one.
Did you finish it?
It stops at 24, right? Yeah.
Makes me so happy. That's a solid anime where they just start to finish, they close it.
Yeah, they just gave you what you wanted without like really having to beg for it.
Yeah. But all right, I think we're done for the week. This is gonna be a every Thursday show, probably around 5 to 7 Eastern time.
Shooting for Thursdays.
Yep. Thanks for Level Uppers for watching us. We appreciate it. Yes. We just do this for fun.
We had Level Uppers, we had Lion, Vigilante, and then a bunch of random bots that came in and tried to sell me followers. So we're not gonna give them a shout out, but just be looking for us on Thursdays, same time, same place. I think nobody's moving. And then
same time, same place.
Same time, same place. We're gonna do. We gotta get to the intro where we do the drinks. Phil was the only person with a drink today.
Yeah,
we'll get better as we go.
Yeah, but we post it on YouTube and the socials. So we're gonna start Instagram and a YouTube just to let people know when we're streaming and whatnot. But everybody, peace out.